Hi everyone. In this review, we're going to talk about shading in graphite, and I have a worksheet here for you to work on. We'll talk about pencil pressure, building values, the illusion of form, the types of pencils you can use, blending tools, and the gradation of tones throughout it. I think this is an excellent way to kind of get familiar and get a feel for how to use graphite pencil. And then it translates to a lot of other art materials as well. So to begin with, we want to talk about pencil pressure, how you're going to use the pencil, and the types of pencils. So right here I have a 2B, a 4B, and a 6B drawing pencil. We'll talk about how those work throughout the shading process. What we also have is a blending tool and some tissue paper for some soft blending as when we get started later. We'll use those in a little while. So we're going to go from the full gamut of tones here, from a very light gray to pitch black. So let's talk about how we're going to achieve this. Well, number one, we're going to try to match that light gray on the left side in the box. So if I hold a 2B and I hold my hand far back in the pencil, I'm just going to hold it shallow and put a light coat. Very light pressure. But if I put two coats of the same pressure, I achieve a darker gray in the second area. Still holding on to the 2B, I'm going to put some light pressure on the third square, put a second coat, and now I'm going to take a look. Too close. Let's do a third or fourth coat to help build that up. In the fourth square, I'm going to start to compare it to my last squares and also, of course, to the value to the left of it, and build until I achieve different grades of gray tone. You'll probably have to come back and forth a few times to see how to build that up. And as you progress to the darker grays, put a little bit more pressure on the pencil consistently to build those deeper gray tones. Because now I'm moving more to the medium range of gray tones. I'm going to build here with a lot more pressure, pushing that a little heavier. And this is where I'm able to move into different areas in deeper areas with the 4B. If I use a 4B pencil in these darker areas, not only is it smoother, but the darks come off of it a lot easier. And you can see I'm coming back into some earlier squares to achieve the grays I want. Now as I go into the last three squares, I'm going to be switching between 4Bs and 6Bs to achieve darker results. So here I'm using a 6B. Gets very dark very quickly with less pressure. The more pressure I put, the harder I press, the darker the values are. And in the last one, I'm going to push extremely heavy to achieve that pitch black look I'm looking for. And then I'm going to evaluate all my values to see if there's anything I need to adjust. But that helps me gain a feeling of the tones. Now we're going to put it to practice in some transitions of shadow. I'm going to try to copy going from highlight to a dark value throughout this circle so I can make it a sphere. There's also a cast shadow. So looking at where the highlight is, all my shading is going to go towards the highlight. So I'm going to start with a 2B, work from the bottom where it's darkest, and fade by releasing pressure off the pencil towards the highlight. I'm not really concerned if I get too much gray in the highlight because I can erase some out later. But I'm shaping around the circle, kind of like a crescent moon, and softening towards the highlight. Here I can also coat the cast shadow as well. But I'm starting with my lighter tones with the 2B. Now I'm going to move to the 4B. And I'm going to start from the darkest areas again with a little bit more pressure. And again, I'm going to translate by releasing pressure off the pencil, building layers, and moving around the sphere and overlapping my shading marks to create a consistent flow and gradation of value. Notice I haven't blended anything yet with a blending tool to achieve smoother results. I'll do that later. Trying to get smooth, soft results. At this point, I'm going to get a piece of tissue paper not the blending tool yet. I'm going to wrap it around my dominant finger there, and I'm going to soften, buff, and blend to match the transition of how light and shadow mix, and I'll get smooth results at this point. I can take an eraser and lift out areas that may have gotten smudged that need to be brighter. Don't worry about the outer edge of the erasing because I can buff it with my paper towel or my tissue paper to create soft transitions. At this point, I can move to the 6B or stay with the 4B and continue building my dark values. Here I'm staying with the 4B, and again I'm modeling the form, which means to build and create that illusion of three-dimensionality on a piece of paper. A lot of people want to achieve this, and it just takes building it up and comparing and seeing where shadows really need to be and how dark they really need to be compared to the lighter areas. And this is where the magic really happens, by getting to this point in building. So it's consistently layering. So if you look at what we worked on in the first part of this exercise, which was learning how to create different values, we can now put them into practice and we can achieve all these different types of tones. Even if you make a mistake where a darker mark happens, you can always erase a little bit, shade a little bit, and then even buff it out with a blending tool later. So if you make mistakes, that's why we have erasers. So again, I'm using the resources there to match up. If I want to shape some of my outer edges or clean up some things, that's where the blending tool, the tortillon stump, can really come in handy for tight areas of blending. Try to avoid using your finger. It has oils on it. I understand if you do, but try using some paper towel a little bit more. Well, that's how we achieve those results. Practice makes perfect. Okay, so good luck, everyone.